Hi, it's Ann from Ann Moyer Singing. I wanted to give a little bit of a talk today about what singing is really. Singing is two tasks. Um, and I'll preface this by saying that this is mainly used by singers who are using bel canto type singing methods. Some of it may apply to general singing, some of it may not. Caveat emptor. But singing is two separate activities, and each one has its own learned set of skills. The first one is you set up your instrument and then you maintain its shape. And the second is that you deliver your song in the appropriate style for the configuration you chose. Now, setting up your instrument. What exactly is that? It means you're setting up your stance, your body alignment, your sinus, your palate, your pharynx. You have proper support engaged, and that you focus on maintaining all of these ideal positions actively through the whole song. And that's like maybe even your primary focus, because you should know the music. So maintaining the instrument is really the trick. We want to relax and get into the song. We want to move and sway. We want to get involved in it. And that's not doing anything for the consistency of the shape of the instrument. And so our tone shifts all over the place. Now, depending on your style of music, some of these variations are just fine. Musical theater regularly requires a lot of movement. But if you watch, their torso stays stiff, or not stiff, but straight. They'll bend at the waist and other things like that. They're maintaining the integrity here. A lot of pop uses a little bit of nasality. Country uses twang. These are all part of your instrument choices and your instrument setup. And there's a number of tricks you can use to help maintain your configuration. And some of this has to do with how you're maintaining the space. And one is to make sure that you inhale like you're about to sing the first vowel of the phrase. So if I'm going to sing "O Holy Night" as a phrase, I inhale the O. And if I'm going to sing, "Keep Me in Your Heart" for a while, that E has a different inhalation feel than the O does. Don't wait to start making sound to put that stuff in place. Do it at the inhalation. And once you've inhaled, you need to engage the apogeo system and launch the rocket. Freeze your lung and diaphragm position at the chosen level of your inhalation, and push off on the pelvic floor like a fake, insincere ha ha ha, or like you're yelling at your nephew, no! And you just engage all those muscles of the rectus abdominis bands. And if you do this right, this should cause a significant amount of sound to have just launched from your face. This is normal. Being quiet using this exhalation method is a learned dexterity skill. Singing below 85 dB or so using this air management system is tricky for most students. And that doing Farinelli breathing exercises will help you develop the control and the muscles for this, because this is the difference between forte and pianissimo. When you have a lot of this oppositional force from apogeo, it is very powerful. And when you really want to be light and delicate, it's a very small amount of pressure on that pedal. And muscles want to operate on-off. They operate by a sodium-potassium exchange, and they either contract or relax. That's it. So we need to get them used to operating in a smooth motion through practicing these movements. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. This is just something that it just takes time for your body to learn. It's not about you learning it here. It's about your body learning how to do it. So, and just to say it out loud, any physical core building exercises will improve your singing. V's, crunches, setups, twists, run, ride a bike. All of this will help with your singing endurance. This doesn't really help your power. That's dynamics, and that's part of the space and resonance use. I can top 125 decibels and not be like grunting and straining. It's just how I'm using the system. So part 2 is deliver your song. Fairly obvious, but now your focus is mainly on all this positioning stuff. How are you going to be expressive? Well, the act of creating all this space means you get a lot of return on small amounts of energy. We use the skull like a megaphone, and so it makes it so that very small vocal features can be heard. This is both good and bad. Good for expression, yes, but it punishes you if you're trying to do formal material. It has a slight drift on vowel shapes and such, and especially in like classical and opera material, it'd be very evident. But the unloaded larynx of bel canto means that you can develop a great deal of pitch dexterity. And combined with the diction dexterity, it allows for singing just about anything. I regularly counsel my students to get into the singing space, so to speak, and then pick up something like a book or a box of cereal and read it. When they go to do a piece of music, forget the music for the moment, grab the lyric sheet, and pretend it's a play. Understand who are the characters, what's the story, what's going on here, and figure out how you would relate this story if you were speaking it to another person, if you were telling a bunch of other people this rather than singing it. And work on delivering that speech as if you were talking to folks about it. And then bring the music back in. And you'll find that all that expression that you worked on in speech by using this system, it's there. And it improves the quality of what you're doing. Now, one of the things that I mentioned too is vocal dexterity. By unloading the larynx and having good tongue control, it makes it so you can go through lyrics very, very quickly. Personally, I've been working on Weird Al Yankovic's Hardware Store, and I almost have the second half down. It's crazy fast, has crazy out of sequence words. My failure is always the same. Tightness takes over. I get tongue or larynx tension, or I trip vocally or on pitch. And one thing that keeps the tongue more able to perform is where we have the vowel arch of our tongue. What's the vowel arch? It's the portion of the tongue that crests when you make high vowel sounds like E or I. And I can cover this in tongue shape in another video. I go over this with my students all the time. And if you haven't watched it yet, please watch the video on keeping a neutral larynx. So I'm going to try and get back more to these like little mini seminars. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And thank you so much, and we'll see you online. Thanks.